Egregious. This is a good day. It's the holiday season, y'all. Everyone's in the spirit. We're all having a good time. Talking on Truth Wanted. Man, we still got 3 more calls on the line. I'd love to get to all of these calls if we can. We might have to speed it up just a little bit, but I want to talk to now Charles in Fort Worth, Texas. Charles, can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Charles, how's it going? I have a thing here saying that you're you wanted to talk to us about Vikings and some other things. Pagan issues.
About that. I was just listening to all the other callers. It's pretty cool. Tonight you have all the pagans calling in.
I know, right? That's really neat. It's just the pagan themed show today, I guess. I'm down with that.
It's just the Truth Wanted Yule edition.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, one of the ideas I had for this show was I really wanted each episode to be kind of a theme thing. But of course, at first we wanted to try to get as many callers as possible and try to get as wide and diverse an audience. But hey, if we're on a theme today, let's keep going. I love this stuff. Okay, so Charles.
So what would y'all like to talk about?
Okay, so what I have here is pagan issues, spells, heritage, and Viking bloodline.
Oh yeah,
that gets into an awkward conversation.
Yeah, what I found out is that because I used to be a Christian back when I was in high school, and then I got kind of kicked out of the church because I was born different and I had a birth defect, and they were like, "Oh, well, people like you don't go to heaven." And so I was like, "Well, dang!" I was like, "That sucks." I was like, "So what am I going to do for the rest of my life?" And then so I started doing some background check on my DNA, and my lineage, and it just led to one thing to another, to the Danes, to the Vikings, to the Swedes, you name it. I mean, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm connected to the Vikings, I was like, what did they believe? What was something that they would spiritually believe in? And it led me to, well, they do have wizardry, but I went more shamanistic.
Okay.
And, the cool thing is I got a little bit of Native American, and that led me to shamanistic practice as well. So I'm heading the right direction.
Interesting. Suris, did you have comments on this?
So it didn't go the route that I thought it was going to go, which is good, because the other route was very unpleasant. There is actually a lineage issue with paganism that comes up. I don't want to say them by name because it kind of gives them a little more power and presence, but there is one set of pagans who believe very heavily on lineage to the point of almost white supremacy. And it didn't go that route, so that's cool. We don't have to talk about them because they're bad people.
That's okay. So, gosh, the pagan heritage is becoming a bigger theme in my life, I guess, because I keep having people calling about it and stuff. And I love that people want to talk to me about this stuff when, like, I'm clearly not an expert, right? Everything I know is just from reading a few things, but I don't practice. I never have. I know people who have it. I'm glad Suris is on to talk about this. I noticed on here, though, you did talk about spells, and that's kind of interesting. Do you have, like, a spell practice yourself? Is that something you do, or?
Well, pretty much the only spells I pretty much do is, first I do a lot of meditation and work with, like, crystals, and we have, like, special rocks that we call spirit rocks. And I pretty much, like, if there's any kind of spells I do, it's usually working with herbs and, like, things that are going to, like, make my body a lot better and, like, a lot more balanced. And I think that's the big key in life for me, is to find balance in life.
Okay. Sirs, did you do a video on this kind of topic? Yeah.
I actually did an entire video.
I did something on this on Talk Heathen. We got into it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a video that I did on my channel on the idea of people who use not the people specifically, but the idea of using stones for healing and stuff like that. So I guess my question would be the idea of using herbs and stones to balance your body. That sounds incredibly vague to me. Do you think you might be able to clarify that a little bit?
Well, the stones, like I have a black stone that's supposed to take, like, the negativity out of your body, and then another one might be for positivity, and another one might be for health. And each one like represents a symbol of something that I want in my life.
Okay, and I guess the real question there is, do you think that the stones themselves are doing it, or just the ritual of doing it helps?
Probably a little bit of both, because the main thing is I like to use the elements, and I feel that that fire gives us energy, that earth gives us energy, water gives us energy. So the whole earth mixed with all these elements is like the essence of life, and everything that comes from the earth, that you can use it in your practice. It actually can help you reach a better understanding of life, and then like a more of a balance.
I'd say at that point, and I don't want to be the person that tells you what your belief structure is or isn't, but that sounds more like the ritual itself, like the act of doing, is what's causing that for the most part. Whereas for instance, we know that different stones vibrate at different rates. This is why we have watches that use quartz. But we also know that for the most part, those stones don't have any actual effect on the human body, with some exceptions. Uranium is one of them. Don't go grab uranium. That's a bad thing to do. But we know that the stones in general don't necessarily do a whole lot for the body. But we do know...
That's the one thing I could say, is I don't actually use anything that's going to harm me or harm anybody else. So that's for sure.
True. I think the conversation is less about harm and more the underlying principle as to why something functions. In all the studies that I've done on this particular topic, it seems that the ritual of doing something, laying the stones out in a particular pattern, if you're having it done by somebody else when they lay them, sometimes there's practices where they lay stones on you in order to try to relax you. I think Reiki does a little bit of this. Sometimes it's just the act of doing something, and doing something methodically, that gives these positive effects. But what's actually happening is that the thing that you're doing isn't what's actually causing it usually. Usually it's the fact that you're doing something ritualistically, that you're doing something methodically, that leads to that.
You can kind of imagine like an OCD person who might get something out of cleaning something or doing something. It's not the cleaning itself that's doing anything for them. It's the act of it, kind of. Is that a good comparison?
Oh, yeah. I had a friend like that, where she had to touch like the doorknob like 13 times before she could open it and all that kind of stuff.
Right. So it's like the doorknob isn't actually doing anything there. It's the act itself that's more important.
Well, the interesting thing about me, though, is like if I take my hearing aid out and I take my shoes off, and let's say somebody's playing music or something, we were talking about vibrations and stuff. It's kind of interesting. Like, people are like, how do you hear the music or feel it? And I'm just like, I can feel the vibrations, and they're like, that is so cool. I'm like,
I mean, that's exactly how your eardrum
I think
works.
that's because when I take the hearing aid out, I'm more mostly deaf than anything. So maybe I'm feeling the vibration because I'm deaf.
Right. So like Suris was saying, like that's kind of how the eardrum works. We're picking up on vibrations in the air, and that's how we understand kind of sound. And also, it can go through objects as well, which is kind of neat. So
I mean, that's how we're all talking right now. It's just electronic signals.
Yes, exactly. The sound the sound in the air is going into the microphone, which is being converted into an electronic signal that goes back into like a physical signal into somebody else's earbuds right now.